Imagine cutting an 8-hour train ride down to 2 hours. That's the promise India sold to the public. A $15 billion high-speed rail linking Mumbai and Ahmedabad. A line meant to zip people between a finance hub and an industrial powerhouse at 350 kilometers per hour. It was framed as a game changer. Faster commutes, more business, more tourists, and a flagship project India expected to finish in 2024. But the story didn't go as planned. India borrowed roughly $14.6 billion from Japanese lenders to build it. Today, because of delays and rising costs, the project's financial picture looks darker. That initial loan has ballooned, and the completion date keeps slipping. A shipment of crucial tunnel-boring machines got stuck in China in October 2024 and hasn't been released. Workers are waiting. Stations are half dug, and the government is under pressure. Taxpayers, engineers, and politicians all want answers. So, here's what we're doing in this video. First, we'll show you why the rail mattered in the first place, who it would help, and how. Then we'll unpack the technical and financial snags that stalled progress. We'll follow the money and the machines, and finally look at the political fallout, why blame got pointed at China, and whether that blame fits the facts. That's the journey, from bright promise to stalled project. Next, we'll ground the story by taking you inside Mumbai and Ahmedabad, so you understand what's at stake. To understand why India was so eager to build this high-speed rail, you first have to see the two cities it was meant to connect, Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Let's start with Mumbai. If you stand in the middle of a Mumbai street, you'll be surrounded by a sea of people, cars, and honking horns. It's India's financial heart, home to major banks, the stock exchange, and Bollywood. Now head about 500 kilometers northwest, and you'll reach Ahmedabad, in the state of Gujarat. This is India's industrial powerhouse. It sits right in the cotton belt and produces nearly a third of the country's textiles. The city is neatly divided by the Sabarmati River, modern developments on one side, older trading hubs on the other, and it serves as a vital transportation hub, linking India's inland regions to its coastal ports. For decades, trains have carried passengers and goods between these two economic engines. But that system is showing its age. Old tracks, long delays, and heavy congestion make an 8-hour trip feel endless. And with trade and population growing, the old railway network just can't keep up. That's why the Indian government wanted something bold. A super high-speed rail line that would turn a full day's journey into a 2-hour commute. It wasn't just about convenience, it was about unlocking productivity, boosting tourism, and linking two growth engines more tightly than ever before. Next, let's see what this ambitious plan actually looked like on paper, and how the project grew into one of the most technically demanding rail projects India has ever attempted. The Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail wasn't just any railway project, it was a technical marvel in the making. According to the plan, the line would stretch roughly 500 kilometers, almost the same distance as traveling from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Trains were designed to hit 350 kilometers per hour, slicing the trip from 8 hours down to just 2. Most of the line would be elevated, running above crowded streets and industrial areas. But the real engineering challenge lay underground. A 21-kilometer tunnel, including a 7-kilometer undersea section. Building a tunnel like that isn't like digging a hole in your backyard. You need precision, speed, and specialized machines that can cut through rock, lay concrete, and keep the surface above stable. Enter the tunnel boring machines, TBMs, massive high-tech giants designed for projects like this. India needed machines that could work continuously and safely in complex geological conditions. After discussions with German suppliers, India decided to purchase 3 horseshoe shield TBMs at a cost of over $330 million. These machines are over 80 meters long, use full-section cutting technology, and can simultaneously excavate, install tunnel lining, and remove debris. Compare that to a standard excavator, maybe 10 meters long, digging intermittently, and you see why these machines were indispensable. The plan was bold, expensive, and carefully calculated. With these machines in place, the high-speed rail could run on time and set a new benchmark for Indian infrastructure. But ambition comes with risk. Even with world-class technology, a project of this scale can be derailed by money, machines, or international politics. And that's exactly what happened next. Next, we'll dive into the financial side. The rising debt, fiscal pressure, and how money troubles started to shape the project's fate. Building the world's most ambitious high-speed rail isn't cheap, and India's financial picture was far from perfect. To fund the project, the government borrowed around $14.6 billion from Japanese lenders. That seemed manageable at first, but as delays mounted and costs grew, the debt began to balloon. Today, that initial figure has reportedly risen to about $18 billion. So, why the jump? Every year a project is delayed, interest on loans accumulates, construction costs rise, and machinery orders get pushed back, all adding to the price tag. And, this project was no small loan. It's a national-scale financial gamble. At the same time, India's economy faced some serious pressures. In 2022, the fiscal deficit hit 6.9% of GDP, which was far above government targets. Total national debt reached roughly 75% of GDP, while foreign exchange reserves dropped by $83 billion in just a year. That meant there were fewer dollars available to pay foreign suppliers for critical equipment. The shrinking reserves also made India vulnerable to currency fluctuations, keeping the rupee under pressure against the US dollar. In short, the government was really squeezed. It needed to finance a $15 billion megaproject while managing rising debt, falling reserves, and a weakening currency. This financial strain directly impacted the project's machinery orders, payments to suppliers, and ultimately the construction timeline. Even with cutting-edge technology and a well-laid plan, without cash in hand, the high-speed rail just couldn't move forward as intended. Next, we'll get to the heart of the problem, the tunnel boring machines. Those giant machines stuck in China and Germany that became the bottleneck holding the whole project hostage. The tunnel boring machines, or TBMs, were supposed to be the lifeblood of the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail. Without them, digging the 21-kilometer tunnel, including the 7-kilometer undersea stretch, was just impossible. India had ordered 3 German horseshoe shield machines at a cost of over $330 million. These weren't ordinary excavators. Each TBM was over 80 meters long, capable of cutting through rock, lining tunnels, and removing debris all at the same time. A standard excavator, by contrast, is just 10 meters long and digs in short bursts. Really, no match for a project of this scale. Here's where things went off track. Although Germany designed these machines, they were manufactured in a factory in Guangzhou, China. In October 2024, China seized the 3 machines, and they've remained in a bonded warehouse ever since. This isn't a minor delay. Without these machines, the entire underground section of the rail is effectively frozen. Construction of stations and tunnels has slowed dramatically, and experts now project that the line might not be completed until 2030. The situation was complicated by previous dealings with Chinese-made tunnel boring machines. India had ordered 18 machines from China in 2020 for other projects, but delayed payments and refused visas for Chinese engineers to operate the machines. China eventually halted exports of all tunnel boring machines to India, which included the German machines manufactured on Chinese soil. This crisis wasn't just technical, it was a tangle of international finance, supply chains, and diplomacy. A missing payment or blocked visa could now stall a $15 billion project for years, showing how megaprojects are as dependent on geopolitics as on engineering. Next, we'll unpack the breakdown in cooperation between India, China, and Germany, and why trust, payment, and timing became as crucial as technology itself. The tunnel boring machine crisis wasn't just about machines sitting in a warehouse, it was also about a breakdown in international cooperation. In 2020, India had placed orders for 18 Chinese-made tunnel boring machines, aiming to boost its infrastructure projects and even learn advanced technology. Initially, China agreed, showing goodwill and promising technical support. But problems quickly arose. India refused to issue visas for Chinese engineers, which prevented them from assembling or operating the machines. At the same time, the Indian government delayed final payments, partly because of severe fiscal pressure. Shrinking foreign exchange reserves, a large fiscal deficit, and growing debt made it difficult to honor international contracts. Some analysts even speculate that India deliberately delayed payments to buy time for its engineers to study the machines and attempt to develop domestic alternatives. And, well, the result. China stopped exporting TBMs to India, including the German-manufactured machines that were already being shipped. The combination of visa restrictions, unpaid invoices, and political tension created a perfect storm, turning an engineering challenge into a geopolitical standoff. Next, we'll look at the human and national consequences of this delay, how lives, projects, and politics have all been affected by the stalled rail line. The stalled high-speed rail isn't just a story about machines and money, it's about real impacts on people and the nation. Take the Mumbai high-speed railway station, the only underground station on the corridor. So far, workers have excavated 142,000 cubic meters of soil out of the required 187,000 cubic meters. Progress has slowed to a crawl because the crucial TBMs are stuck. Commuters, construction workers and engineers face uncertainty, while businesses that were counting on faster connections are left waiting. On a national level, the delay has exacerbated India's financial pressures. Debt is rising, loan repayments to Japan are looming, and public frustration is growing. To manage this, Prime Minister Modi and parts of the media have shifted blame to China, citing equipment seizures and past conflicts, for instance, referencing tensions from the 2020 Galwan clash, to imply deliberate obstruction. Meanwhile, complaints have also been directed at Germany, whose TBMs were manufactured in China, highlighting how complex supply chains can entangle multiple countries. The combination of stalled infrastructure, mounting debt, and political finger-pointing shows how megaproject delays ripple far beyond engineering problems. Ordinary people feel it in daily commutes, local economies feel it in missed opportunities, and governments feel it in both domestic criticism and international relations. Next, we'll bring it all together with a conclusion, summarizing lessons, unanswered questions, and what the future might hold for India's high-speed rail. The Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail project shows us that megaprojects aren't just about trains and tunnels. They're about money, machines, diplomacy, and trust. From the initial $15 billion promise, to borrowing billions from Japan, to the stalled tunnel boring machines in China, every step has revealed how technical brilliance alone can't guarantee success. Ambition collided with financial limits, geopolitical tensions, and logistical hurdles. India's fiscal constraints delayed payments. Visa refusals prevented engineers from assembling machines. Machines got stuck in international warehouses, and political narratives shifted blame, leaving ordinary citizens frustrated while the project drags on. Experts now estimate completion may not happen until 2030, 6 years after the original deadline. This story raises important questions. Should China release the TBMs? Was India's strategy reckless or clever? Can nations realistically insulate megaprojects from global politics? It's a case study in how infrastructure, economics, and international relations are deeply intertwined. For viewers, the takeaway is clear. Infrastructure is more than steel and concrete. It's trust, timing, and money. If you want to follow the next chapters of India's high-speed rail saga, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We'll keep bringing you updates, insights, and stories that reveal the real forces shaping the world's biggest projects.